Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I present to you Scrub Zero. This has been something I've been meaning to do for a while, honestly. The whole Eli Manning thing is, should he be in the Hall of Fame? We know he's getting in. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when at this point. He's getting in. But it's a lot. This is something that has a lot of people wondering, like, is it, like, should he, like, there's people feel strongly both ways. Should he get in? Should he not get in? I never really gave my thoughts on it. I've been mindful of that. Because I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, let me reevaluate it. I didn't want to say yes or no without really looking back at it, and then be like, all right, this is like he is or he isn't. So, Eli Manning, the number one overall pick back in 2004. A man who was slated to go to the San Diego Chargers, but he didn't want to go there. Let's be honest. He didn't want to go there. His dad didn't want him going there. And because remember, that draft featured two other notable quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger and Phillip Rivers. Now, I don't know what Pittsburgh would have done. They probably would have stuck with Phillip Rivers, but Eli was supposed to go to San Diego. Big Ben was supposed to come to New York. I know some of y'all probably don't even know that. Big Ben was supposed to come to New York. He was supposed to get drafted 4th overall to the Giants. But when Ernie Accorsi heard that, saw the opportunity to get Eli, he took a bit of a gamble in drafting Phillip Rivers, because San Diego didn't want to trade. He would have been stuck with Phillip Rivers. That would have been interesting to see how that went. I don't think he would have done. I don't think he would have won 2 Super Bowls personally. Like, the times I got to see him live, outside of one game, a Thursday night game against the Kansas City Chiefs, which he did throw the game-winning TD. Like, every other time I saw him, he'd find a way to, like, every other game I saw him live, he'd throw a pick. He'd find some way to come up short, and it's like, damn, this guy and all that. Like, practically, not every other, like, practically, more times than not when I saw him, it was him coming up short. So, like, and I know he has the numbers, but he's never been a difference maker, in my opinion, as far as winning the championship. But the Giants were able to trade for Eli Manning. They got him. They gave up, like, I think they gave up picks. They had to give up picks to get Manning, which is crazy, but that's how it goes. His rookie year, they got 9 games in. They were 5-4 at that point. They could have made a playoff push. The organization decided to go with Manning at that point. He went 1-6. He lost his first 6 starts. And honestly, he looked terrible. Cause at that point he was terrible. Now he did win the last game of the season against the Cowboys, but even that game he wasn't great. Comes back in 2005. He was better. His team went 11-5. He had 24 touchdowns, but he had 17 interceptions. And that year, he lost to the Carolina Panthers in I think that's still the wild card round. They were 11-5, but they had to play in the wild card round. Manning's numbers were not good that day. He went 10 of 18 for $113 and 3 picks. Didn't score a single point. Manning Manning's second season was more the same. Like, he had a good start early on, and then he struggled. And they did make it to the playoffs again, though they were 8-8. It was a lot of turmoil. Tiki Barber had been complaining and whatnot. They played the Eagles in 2006. He did throw an interception, but he had 2 TDs, although for only 161 on 16 to 27. And they lost on the last second field goal. So, you know. 2007, I mean, like, we know what that season entailed. It was a lot of... There's a lot of talk about Coughlin getting the boot. And Eli, they were 0-2. A lot of people, I don't know if they forget or don't know that he did suffer a shoulder strain in the opening week. The opening was bad. Defense was awful at the first 2 games, but they got better as the season went out. But Eli did do his usual second half struggling. He did his, you know how that goes. They ended up pulling it, getting through their season 10-6. It was pretty ugly. But like, he had his struggles, but they won a big game of Buffalo that secured a playoff spot. They were 10-5 going into the final game of the year, in which they played their starters. And there's a lot of speculation if they would rest because they made the playoffs. They couldn't do any better than what they were. To Coughlin's credit, he didn't have them rest. He had them play. Now, did they come up short? Yeah, but they played very well that game, and that kind of set the table, along with a lot of rookies stepping up that year, and the defense has played better. It set the table for the wild card run. Eli beat the Bucks in the wild card round, 120-27 for $185. 124-14. He had 2 TDs. Nothing spectacular, but he didn't hurt his team. The divisional round, I mean, the Giants, they pulled it out. I mean, Eli's numbers wasn't great. Only 12-18 for $163, but he didn't hurt the team. He had 2 TDs, no picks. And they actually played well. They picked off Tony Romo late in that game. We know that was the week, I think, that Romo and Witten and their girls were in Cabo. It did not end well. And then the NFC Championship game, I have to say the Giants, they had a few blown plays, and some missed opportunities. To a large Giants could have ended regulation a few times, but drama. Magnet ball, allegedly, but you know how the Magnets do. Had to make it drama-filled, but they did win that game. Plaxico Burress was a monster in that performance. The run game was key. And then they got to the Super Bowl 42. And one of, if not the greatest, upset in the Super Bowl era. The Giants beating the New England Patriots, who were prior to that game were undefeated, 18-0, trying to go for 19-0. Eli had a pick. I think that he had a pick that game that I forget if someone was held or someone ran the wrong route. It shouldn't have been picked, but it was. It is what it is. He had to play late in that game. Asante Samuel dropping the ball. That shouldn't have happened. It was a bad throw, but there's also a bad route. Steve Smith ran the wrong route and nearly cost the Giants the game. That was actually after the helmet catch. I still don't know. I still don't know how the hell Eli got out of that play. Like, how many years later, and he's still, and I'm like, y'all still can't get him now? But that defense was key. Eli held it down, drove him down the field. Plax got the game-winning touchdown. But one of the things that was key about that game, they controlled the ball. Because Eli Manning was the kind of quarterback. He's the kind of quarterback that you need to play around. Like, you need to have the team around him. He wasn't the kind of quarterback that could overcome a bad offensive line or a bad defense. Maybe once or twice in the season, but he couldn't do that consistently. But you set the team up around him, have him play off the run, play action. That's where he had his most success. When the run game was working well, he could use play action. And the Giants did a good job with the run game, even in Super Bowl 42. Like, the Patriots couldn't run the ball. They got after Tom Brady. You know the history of that. 2008 was, man. 2008. Listen, they ran out to a 10-1 start, and like they ran out to a 10-1 start. They should have been. They really should have won a few more games. They should have gotten to the Super Bowl. But Plaxico Burress, he shot himself in the leg. We know how that ended. They played against the Eagles in that postseason, and Manning because Plax was the Eagles killer. He was the guy the Eagles had no answer for. And because they had no answer for Plaxico Burress, like, that's what made the difference. But without him, the Giants' offense didn't look anywhere close to the same after that. They went 2-3 the rest of the way. They played the Eagles. They lost. Eli was only 15 of 29 for $169 with 2 picks, no TDs. That's not going to get it done. 2009 season was another tough year. They finished 8-8, missing the playoffs because they lost the Panthers and the Minnesota Vikings in the last 2 games. They should have been in the playoffs. They weren't. Eli. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the 2007 season. Even though he had the injury, he led the league in interceptions. 23 TDs, 20 picks. Again, like I said, 2009 season, you know what happened there. He actually went 21-10 as far as TD to interception ratio, but no Plax, no chance. Then 2009, he passed over 4,000 yards, had 27 TDs. He had 27 TDs and 14 picks, but they lost the last 2 games. They were awful in the last 2 games, to be honest. And because of that, they missed the playoffs. And man, no, we won't talk about it. Like another second half collapse. 2010, more the same. They beat the Panthers. They went 6-2 in the first 8 games, and then they played the Eagles. Manning doing his usual Manning thing, fumbling the dang on ball against like always some type of nonsense against the Eagles. Well, it was like after this situation with Plaxico, the Eagles was just kryptonite for Eli. Oh man, stupid speaker. But yeah, the Eagles were kryptonite for Eli in those years. After that, and it got ugly. They played the Cowboys. And with a game where the Giants really didn't play well. I mean, the final score is 41-35, but it was never really close. They got mollywopped. And they were meandering. All right, you get to week 15, and of course that was the infamous. That was the infamous Matt Dodge game, the Miracle in Meadowlands Part 2. That was the worst collapse I at that point I had ever seen. Maybe to this point in my life, I've never seen a collapse like that. They were up. This is like 28-7 or something. Like they were up 3 TDs. And Eli's numbers went bad that game, but what happened after the Eagles scored? It actually started off with Manningham fumbling. They score a touchdown. The Eagles score a touchdown. Then onside kick situation. Giants weren't ready. Eagles score another touchdown. Giants have to punt. Eagles score another touchdown. Giants get the ball back. They punt again. Well, no, I think they kicked the field goal in the stretch of that. But like it got to the point. All right, end the game. Scores tied. They punt the ball. And Matt Dodge, not only does he punt it in bounds, he punts it inside the numbers. He punts it to Deshaun Jackson. And Deshaun Jackson, at that point, went to make a complete mockery. A complete mockery of the New York Giants special teams unit. And they lost that game. They lost the following week in Green Bay. By that point, it was too late. Because even though they beat Washington in the final game of the season, the Packers beat the Bears in a season where the Giants were supposed to have the second seed because they beat the Bears earlier that season. And if they just win 2 more, they beat the Eagles. They beat the Eagles just one time. They would have won the division. They would have been the second seed. And another missed opportunity. 2011. The whole, he went on Michael K's show. Michael K asked if he was an elite quarterback. Eli said he was. I mean, what did you expect the man to say? He got criticism, but you expect him to say something different? Like, that was a loaded question. Especially after the past season, he had 25 picks, leading the league in interceptions again. Now, he did have the career high 31 TDs. 62.5 completion percentage, over 4,000 yards, but they had another second half collapse. Heck, the 2011 season, quite honestly, they nearly had a complete second half collapse. They went 6-2 again. They won some key games, and Victor Cruz coming out party against the Eagles, but you saw what happened with the Seahawks. Not due to lack of trying. One thing I can say about Eli was never due to lack of trying. It was him doing too much, honestly. Why the Giants lost a lot of games, but it's never due to the lack of trying. No, you can never tell Eli. He just had that goofy look like, where am I, man? But you know what it was. It was what it was. It was a bad. They lost the first game. They won the next 2. Lost against the Seahawks. Then they won 4 straight, including beating the New England Patriots in Foxborough. Mind you, that game, the score at halftime was 0-0. And this was like one of the most frustrating things as a Giants fan. Like, when you saw the team play well, you're like, they gave you the sense of a team that could beat anyone on any given Sunday and could lose to anyone on any given Sunday. And it just broke my heart a bunch of times. So, but all right. So after the New England Patriots beating them, they go against the New England Patriots. Not the New England Patriots. They played. And they didn't play in back-to-back weeks. They played in San Francisco against the Niners. That was a tough game. They lost that game. It was a 27-20 game. All right. No, it happens. They played against a tough team. They were competitive. Then they played against the Eagles in the Sunday night game. What is? I hate the Eagles. This isn't just an Eli. This ain't even just an Eli thing anymore. This is like the Eagles in prime time against the Giants. Like, I don't think we won a game against them in prime time. I'd have to look. Like, I remember the Giants winning in 2007. Maybe they outside the playoffs they played a prime time game in 2008 and won that. But outside it, but they haven't won any since then. Anytime they play the Eagles in prime time, you can just be like, oh, that's a loss. If you want a surefire way for the Eagles to beat the Giants, just put them in prime time. And it's like, oh, here we go again. There was some type of nonsense. It's not that the games aren't competitive. It's that the Giants always find a way to shoot themselves in the foot and lose. But I digress. I'm getting away from the main topic. They lost against the Eagles. Eli was strip sacked. They lost to Vince Young because Mike Vick was injured, but Eagles pulled it off. They won the game 17-10. Then they went to New Orleans and they got mollywopped. Now the end of their first possession ended in a pick because Jake Ballard did not fight for the ball. I think he was banged up at the time, but Eli gave him a chance. And Jake Ballard did not come down with it. It was a pick. And it went all downhill from there, 49-28. And Eli didn't necessarily play bad, but one thing against the Saints, if you fall behind early, especially in those days, it was over. It was goodbye. Good night, Irene. Goodbye to anyone who goes against them. Oh, that hurt my soul. So the following week they play against the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers, who were undefeated at the time, come in. In fact, the Giants take an early lead on the Travis Beckham touchdown. I think he ran a 9 route. Manning got it to him. He blown coverage by the Packers, touchdown. But excuse me, Packers fight back. They get a lead. I think they were up. Hold on. Sorry about that. I had to sort some stuff out. I was talking about the Packers, how they took a lead. They ultimately took a lead. I think. Oh yeah, got to the fourth quarter. Giants actually drove down the field, tied the game up with a TD and 2-point conversion. But the Packers ended up kicking the game-winning field goal with less than a minute to go. So 6-6 Giants. They go to the Cowboys. Quite honestly, they should have lost that game. How the way some of that game went, but the Cowboys couldn't stop Jason Pierre-Paul, and Tony Romo turned back into Tony Romo, and Miles Austin because he was at that point, he was on like hole 17 or 18 at that point of his career because of the injuries to the hamstring injuries, and because of it, Tony Romo overthrew him. Giants got the ball back. They take the lead. Make the 2-point conversion. They still need to stop the Cowboys from making a field goal. Cowboys go for the kick. They actually make it, but the Giants called timeout to ice the kicker. And then the second try to send it to OT, JPP blocks the ball, blocks the kick. Game over. Giants still alive. The following week, they lose against Washington. They were sorry. And then against the Jets, Rex Ryan doing his Rex Ryan thing. Manning throws to Victor Cruz before in the final 2 minutes of the first half, 99 yards. Turned the game around. Final score was 29-14. Giants got the run game going. It was a wrap. Then they played the Cowboys the final game of the season. Victor Cruz, another big play. Manning do a touchdown to Bradshaw as well, and a fourth quarter TD to Knicks. Then the postseason came along. They struggled early against the Falcons, but once the scoring got going, it was a wrap. The only score the Falcons got was a defensive score, and that was a safety. So and the Giants really should have been 27-14, but point shaving, all that BS. Lawrence Tynes missed the field goal. I think it was the fourth quarter of that game. But 24-2. They go against the Packers. They mollywop them. Hakeem Nicks with a Hail Mary reception at the end of the first half because the Packers decided not to play. They forgot what situational football was and let Ahmad Bradshaw go for 26 yards, get out of bounds, and give the Giants a chance to throw the Hail Mary. And Eli did his thing again in Lambeau, winning for the second time in Lambeau. The only quarterback to win road quarterback to win in Lambeau twice. After Mike Vick was the first quarterback to win in Lambeau, period. So it was 37-20, and quite honestly, it could have been a lot worse. And then they went to the NFC Championship game. They played against the Niners, which was a better matchup. I don't think we would have beaten the Saints, but Sean Payton. No. That's a different story. But they played the Niners. It was they done mollywopped Eli, hit him 20 times, 6 sacks. And Giants gonna get the run game going. Like Eli dropped back 65 times. Well, technically 66 because he did have that scramble, that to position the ball, if I remember correctly. Well, he really 65 dropbacks, 6 sacks, but the Niners couldn't do much outside of the 2 big plays from Vernon Davis. They couldn't do anything against the Giants offensively. And 2 special teams blunders, and that was the difference in the game. Giants got to the Super Bowl, beat the Patriots again. You know the rest. 2012. Eli Manning and the Giants have another quick start. Then they had the second half collapse again. They missed the playoffs because they lost games to like the Ravens. They lost to the Steelers in the second half of the season too. And the Bengals, if I remember correctly, like they came up short. It wasn't pretty. 2013 season was just awful. The offensive line needed fixing, and they didn't do enough to fix it. A lot of guys got hurt. They've been one of the most injured teams in like 2009. But a lot of players got hurt for the Giants. It was really bad. They couldn't run, they couldn't block. Yet somehow they ended up winning 7 of the last 10 and went 7-9. Eli had his worst season. 27 TDs, 27 picks, only 15 TDs. My mistake. 18 TDs, my mistake, but like he felt like he only threw 15. Like it was bad. It was really bad. Like now, if it's any consolation, he only threw 17 TDs in the final 14 games after throwing 10 picks in the first 2 weeks. Not all his fault, but he is the QB. It goes on his ledger. It was not a pleasant season. That's when John Mara said the offense was broken. They come back in 2014. Ben McAdoo is the new OC. Eli goes 30 TDs, 14 picks, but they do the worst season they had under Coughlin since Eli's rookie year. But this felt even worse. 6-10, and then the following year is more the same. Eli had 35 TDs, 14 picks again, but they came up short. But another second half collapse, and they went 6-10 again. Then they had Tom Coughlin resign. Like we know what that was. He got fired. excuse me, he got fired, but for white people they allow you to resign. For when black people are let off the job, they're just fired. Charles Barkley was right about that. He's right about some things, but any case, so 2016 they spend like 200 million in free agency. And a few thoughts went on it. Where's this for Tom Coughlin? And it got to the playoffs, but the O-line still was awful. Even though they won 11-5, Eli went 26 TDs, 16 picks. He looked like it was gonna be more of the same for Eli though, another run to a championship. But Odell Beckham and Sterling Shepard came and all those guys came up short. And then defensively, DRC went out the game, and they had a lot of defensive mistakes, and they got mollywopped in that playoff game. After that, it was just the rest of the way. 2017, that went horrible. The Giants went 3-13. And then, the whole debacle with Geno Smith playing for Eli Manning, because Eli didn't want to have the record just for the sake of having the record. Geno is what he is. It's not his fault that they threw him into a bad situation. I don't know why they chose to do it with Oakland. Especially if you at that point, you should have just went with the rookie Davis Webb. They went with Geno. He lost against a team that Eli had historically had success with. I don't know why they did that, but that's what they did. Then McAdoo and Jerry Reese were fired. The next day, the very next day, they were fired. They brought in Dave Gettleman. We know how that story went. It was 5-11. And they went 4-12 the following year. Eli only played 4 games in the 2019 season. Won his last game as a Giant, but Eli's career was a bunch of. He had some spectacular moments. He had down moments. His career totals, as far as TDs and interceptions, 366 TDs, 244 picks. And that's not gonna get it done. They won a lot. They won games. They lost games. At least when it was Coughlin and Manning, you felt that they always had a chance. But those final years, it was really bad. Eli Manning was a guy you needed to put the offensive line around him. They didn't. And he's had a lot of clutch moments, but there's a lot of times he came up short with just over 60% completion percentage for his career. And when it's all said and done, Eli will be getting to the Hall of Fame. He made me scratch my head. He made me jump for joy. He's my guy. But painful as it is for me to say, Eli Manning does not belong in the Hall of Fame. He does not. Now, how they're going about the Hall of Fame right now, I will agree with Dion. How they putting everyone in, he should he Hall of Famer. He should get in. The way they putting certain guys they've let in, you might as well put him in because he would fit that criteria. But when we talk about really the best of the best, I love Eli. He's not a Hall of Famer. He would not be in my Hall of Fame. He would be in the Hall of Good. But and he gets a lot I know there's a lot of flack he gets because he is Peyton's brother. He is Archie's son. He played for New York. He was the number 1 overall pick. It's not like he was a failure as the number 1 overall pick, but let's be honest. There have been a lot of quarterbacks that were better than Eli Manning. Overall for a career. Now, if you said, "Hey, Eli, we'll take your ability to come through in big moments," sure, but it is what it is. I love my guy, but he's not a Hall of Famer. Anyone who thinks otherwise, by all means, you're free to leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I've really been through it. I looked at a lot of his games. There's a lot of head-scratching moments he had. He'd have multiple interception games. It's like, bro, what you doing? Some of which is like, you do look at the receivers like, guys, what the hell are y'all doing? But he only won 12 games one time in his career. Only 4 seasons of double-digit wins. Well, 5 seasons. But he had 5 seasons of double-digit wins, but only won the division 3 times. Won the division 3 times, but only one time you had the best record. You won the division one time, winning only 9 games. The back half of your career was ugly to watch, but that's what it is. If you haven't already, hit the like button, good people. I appreciate you guys checking this out. I thought about this. I didn't want to do this video. I did and I didn't. But I had to. He's not a Hall of Famer. But he's going to get in. Share the video. Hit the subscribe if you're new. The Cash App is Scrub0. Just leave the link. I'll leave a link that you could just go right to it. I'll also tell you what it is. It's Scrub0, just like my username, SKRUBZERO. And now you know. Shout out to Garcino. Casino for Life, go subscribe to him. Seahawks Jose Rodriguez. Bumper with the Hands team. Welcome to HDTV. Who did it this time? Lobo. That's L0B0. Polo Sports Talking ENT. Ticket TV. Black Mamba King 21 Gaming and Sports. Subscribe to AJ Graves if you're looking for music. I hope I'm remembering the name of this channel properly. Livewire Sports and Entertainment. Go subscribe to him. He puts out good stuff. Shout out to all my subscribers like Uncle Frank, Southern Gotti, Andrew Walker, Andre Bailey, T Hub. Anyone who there's a bunch of other people. It's True Viking. Anyone who I forget, please charge that to my head, not my heart. I really do appreciate all of y'all. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hopefully your videos are more positive than mine, because I had to go through Eli's career. Oh my God, I did not enjoy this. I really didn't. This hurts my soul. This one really hurts. But I've held you here long enough talking about Eli Manning and his consistently consistent self. So, once more, hit the like button if you haven't. Appreciate everyone checking this out. We're gonna keep grinding. The work don't stop. Even if we ain't throwing out videos, I don't mean we ain't putting in work. We trying to get better over here every day, one way or another. So, everyone who's been supporting me to this point. I'm grateful for y'all. I appreciate y'all. I hope to continue the good work for you guys, for myself as well. And until next time, I'm Scrub Zero, and I will catch you all on the flip side.